And welcome back to the channel. On this video I want to talk about seniors 55 plus and riding an e-bike. And yes, seniors can ride an e-bike just like anyone else. And the reason why I'm saying 55 plus, because that puts me in that category as well, because I am 57 and I ride an e-bike. And I think lots of us can ride an e-bike no matter what the age. Of course, there's a minimum age of 16, but there's not a maximum age. We can be whatever age we are. And let's go for a ride now and talk about it. So for anyone wanting to ride a bike that are a little bit older, there's a couple of things that I'd be looking for. And one of them is a bike that will work for you and your height. Because you don't want a bike that's too big for you, because you want to be able to control the bike. You know, you want to be able to handle the bike. And you don't want to be on your tippy toes. I think you want to have your feet down flat on the ground. And so for me, this particular bike here, the Aerial Rider Grizzly, I believe the seat height is 32 inches. And this is just about right for me. If it's any bigger, I would be in trouble, because my feet do touch the ground flat, but that's it. There's no extra room there. So you want to be able to get a bike that you can actually touch the ground flat with your feet, because I think that's going to, you know, give you more control on the bike. And so some bikes like this one here I'm on, the Grizzly, they don't have a seat adjustment. So it's one size fits all type deal. So I suggest, if you are going to, I'm coming up to a dead end here. I don't know why I went this way, but let's do a U-E. Anyway, if you are looking to buy a bike, I would suggest going to a store near you that sells bikes. It doesn't have to be an e-bike. It can be a regular bike, but just to see the seat height that you'd want, so that if you do have to purchase a bike online and it's online only, you'll know what height to get, seat height. This is assuming that the bike doesn't have an adjustment, but if you have an adjustment, then you're fine. But that's important, I think. Number one is getting a bike that you're comfortable with the height. Secondly, I would suggest, unless you're able to, and you're fine with throwing your leg over the bike, the other thing would be, I would recommend getting a step-through bike. And a step-through is down here, the bar. There's no bar here, right? So you can just straddle the bike and then hop on the seat, sit back and on the seat. Whereas if you get the crossbar here, it's hard to swing your leg, especially some of the bikes are taller than others. It's hard to swing your leg up on the bike. So I would recommend getting the step through, unless you're totally comfortable swinging your leg around onto the bike. Even for myself, there's times when I get on the bike or I'm thinking, oh, I feel that a little bit, but usually I'm fine with getting on. But it's when I feel it the most, it's after I've worked all day and I'm coming home from work and I ride the bike home. That's when I feel it. And so that probably makes sense. You've been on your legs, using your legs all day, and so they probably, after you stop working, kind of stiffen up a little bit. But that would be the other thing I'd watch out for, is I'd look for a step through if you are more comfortable with not having to swing your leg up over the bike. But an e-bike otherwise. Oh, there's one other thing I should mention too, though, that's important too, is the weight of the bike. So maybe it is good to go to a bike store that has e-bikes, if you can, just to get an idea of what feels comfortable for you when you sit on a bike weight-wise. So I did some looking up today to see what a typical average weight for an e-bike is, and they're saying typically they run between 40 and 80 pounds, and I lean more toward the higher end than the 40. Like I put that more at 50, probably 50 on the low end. I don't know of too many that are only 40, but let's say 50 pounds to 80 pounds. This particular bike here is 105, and probably the reason for it being that heavy is the fact that it has 2 motors and 2 batteries, so that's going to give you more weight. So, but that would be important, because balancing your bike, right? So you want to be able to not only have your feet be able to be flat on the ground when you come to a stop, but you want to be able to balance the bike so you're not leaning or falling over to one side or the other, because these bikes can get kind of heavy, you know, especially if you have to, when you come to a stop like I am gonna right here. This is where you want to be able to put your feet down flat and be able to handle the weight of the bike. So depending on how you are, how agile you are, that might depend on how much weight you want to handle with a bike. So this one here is not my first bike, and I can tell you the first bike I had was the Rad Rover 4, and the weight of that bike is 68 pounds. So going from 68 to 105, I noticed the difference. That's the one thing right away when I got on this bike for the very first time after riding the Rad Rover, was the weight. I could really feel the difference in the weight. It took a little getting used to, but this one here, I gotta say, is a smoother ride. It's probably because it's got the rear suspension, whereas the other bike doesn't. But so the weight's going to be important to you, as to get one that you're comfortable with, and especially starting out. If it's your first bike, you might want to see how you feel riding the lighter weight bike. So something more like a Rad Rover as opposed to the Grizzly here, which is kind of a beast. But otherwise, if you can balance your bike and you can handle the weight and your feet can touch the ground, they are a lot of fun. And what happens is, when you get riding your bike, you start riding your bike like for the first time, it's a lot of fun, and you'll find yourself wanting to go out there a lot. Like, it's completely different than your regular bicycle. Having that added power, you know, to help you with things like hills, or just say you get tired. Having an e-bike is nice, because if you pedal for a little while in the pedal assist mode, whichever mode you're in, and you want to take a break because you're a little bit tired, you can just throttle. So I would recommend getting a bike with throttle and pedal assist. So you can take a break if you need to. And the other thing is for hill climbing. It's nice to have that extra power behind you to help you up the hills, but they are a lot of fun. You just got to be alert, you know, and watching out everything around you, because things happen. Like or recently, for example, I did a video just recently, a night ride, and I was riding along, and all of a sudden somebody out of the blue just pulled a UE in front of me, you know. So I luckily wasn't riding very fast, and I was a little bit behind them, so I had time and was able to you know, do some braking and slow down and let them do their UE. But you pretty much are watching out for the other person all the time. You know, I'm always expecting them to do something, not that they're going to, but just in case, just be ready and alert for it. But otherwise, the e-bikes are a lot of fun. I highly recommend everybody getting one, you know, if you're able to physically. And even if you're not able to walk very well, heck, you could still ride the bike, you know. If all you can do is throttle and it gets you out there, it's still fun, you know. Like, as long as you can balance the bike and handle the weight, you know, like when you need to, then you're fine. But A little bit of pedaling though is nice. It keeps your legs moving, because the older we get, you know, everything starts to stiffen up, you know, and we start to get, you know, things happening like cramps and everything else. So keeping the blood flowing and your legs moving does sure help you. And so I would recommend it. You know, get out there and get a bike and give it a ride. I think you'll get addicted to it. Like, it's very addicting. I gotta say, since I've had my first bike, this is completely different than having your regular bicycle. Having that added power, you feel like Superman. Literally, you feel like Superman when you're riding. And don't worry about the myths out there where people say you're not getting exercise, you're not getting exercise. If you're moving your legs, you're getting exercise. If your legs are moving at all, you're getting exercise. We don't have to pedal 1,000,000 miles an hour or anything to be exercising. You know, it doesn't have to be. It's not we're not racing or anything, you know. We're just going at our own pace, whatever we're comfortable with. And when we need to take a break from pedaling, we can. You know, we can just throttle just like this. And I like to throttle, as I've said on many videos, through intersections, just to get me through quickly, so I can get, you know, beyond the intersection. I don't want to clog things up in the intersection. I want to move briskly out of there, and so I usually use the throttle, especially at the street light intersections. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're man, woman, what age you are, you can ride an e-bike as long as you have balance. And it's a little bit, it may be a little bit at first, take a little bit of getting used to, you know, just the feel of the bike and everything. With each bike I've gotten, and I've got another one coming shortly, the Lyric Graffiti, it'll take a little getting used to that bike. You know, it's just like driving a car, right? Every car you get into to drive, they all have a little different feel. You know, you get a kind of a comfort zone, just like a lot of things, right? Your pair of shoes, when you get a new pair of shoes, you get into a kind of a comfort feel, you know, with your new shoes after you break them in. And then when you go to get another pair of new shoes, it's the same thing all over again. So, but anyway, that's a little bit on riding, whether you're a senior, 55 plus, as I am. You know, you can get out there and ride just like other folks, and it's a lot of fun, trust me. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and tell your friends about us, and hit that notification button, bell there, and you'll be notified as to when another video comes out here on the channel. And also, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And once again, thank you for joining me today, and until next time, take care.